This video is going to demonstrate a pretty quick and dirty uh, insert into a bridge table. So I have this little Beatles database. I have albums and songs and artists. And so the artist to song is a one-to-many relationship. We're ignoring greatest hits album, so a song is on one album, an album has many songs, but the artist song is a many to many relationship. An artist writes many songs, and a song may be written by more than one artist. Okay, so we've seen this before, and I've done inserts in a different in a painter's painting, which has a one to many relationship. And so I showed how to add an artist, which didn't have any, which just had the primary key and the data. And then I showed how to add a painting, which had a foreign key of the painter. Um, but in this case, I want to put data insert data using a form, not just SQL alchemy code, but using a form uh, generated by Flask to enter some data, to have a user enter some data into a bridge table. And so I'm switching over from my painter's painting example to my Beatles example because it has the many to many. And I'm just going to I already defined it and talked about it, and I've loaded it. I'm going to run the query. The last query shows the many-to-many relationship. So I'm running the query. These queries are just going to be run down here in the terminal. And so this last query shows the couple of records I have well, more than a couple, but a few records I have in the bridge table in the many-to-many relationship between the artist and the song. So I Saw Her Standing There was written by Lennon and McCartney. So in each record is like one song and one artist, but the song may appear more than once, the artist may appear more than once, hence the many-to-many relationship. So I Saw Her Standing There, Lennon. I Saw Her Standing There, McCartney. Misery, Lennon. Misery, McCartney. McCartney, Ask Me Why. Lennon, Ask Me Why. McCartney, Don't Bother Me. Those is Harrison. And those are that's all the data that I have in my bridge table. So I have a lot more to add. I'd like to, have some user come in and help me with that. And so I'm bringing in a Flask form for that. I don't have a Flask form here for inserting the songs or inserting any more artists, but I wanted help with this many-to-many relationship. So I wrote a quick, and again, it's quick and dirty, but I just want to show the beginnings of what it would look like. So let's look at the form. Originally, I was querying in my Python file that sets up my WTF, my WTForms. I imported the database and then started a session, and I was querying there to set up. And that sort of makes some sense because I want my choices. I'm going to define here what things I'm going to have on my form, and I often put in the WTF file what the choices are. And so it makes sense to query the database and put in the choices. And that's what I originally had here, querying the database and preparing it, and choices. It likes a list of tuples. So that's what this code is about, making a list of tuples of artists and a list of tuples of songs. And then I was creating a select multiple field. And here's another variation that I had done earlier. At one time, I had done it with just a simple select. And so with a select, the user picks one. So I was doing it sort of one record at a time, choose one song, choose one artist, submit. And then I moved over, since it is after all a many-to-many, I moved over to select multiple fields or both. I could have moved over to a select multiple field for one. I could have moved to check boxes. So again, there's a lot of variation possible here. I'm just doing it sort of pretty fast and dirty. So I made them both select multiple fields. So there's going to be sort of a drop downish looking thing, but the user will be able to pick more than one song and more than one artist. So sort of do a bunch of Lennon McCartney songs all at once. Okay. But I commented out the loading up of the choices. I've decided I would do that over in routes. And let's say I insert later on a form for inserting a song in case there are new Beatles songs. There was one recently. Um, then I can, if I'm putting my queries over in the routing file, then I can update the choices from as the different forms. I'm only going to have the one route, so it's not really necessary here, but I'm just trying to be consistent with what I might in the future do. Okay. So I'm not doing the choices. I originally did the choices here. I took them out. I'm just saying I'm going to have an artist. I'm going to have a song. I'm going to have a submit button. Then where are my routes? Here are my routes. So then the routes is going to handle not only the routes, but all the connection to the database. And so this is where my session is going to be. And so here is my, I'm bringing in the insert written by form. That's where we just were. Insert written by form. Very long, obnoxious name. Okay. Bring that. So I'm bringing that in, and here's my written by insert route. And then here is that code for querying the artist and looping through and making the tuple. And what the user is going to see is the first name, last name, but what's going to be behind the scenes is the ID, which will be useful because that's what's in the bridge table, the ID. And then same thing for song. I'm making this list of tuples. The tuple has two things: what we use behind the scenes, which is an ID, and what we use, what we want the user to see, which are these song titles. Sorry. And then I sort of instantiate my insert written by form, and then I set up those choices, and I'm putting them in. Now I'm saying what I called artist choices, which was just some code list of tuples, but now I'm explicitly making it the choices of the artist ID that I defined with WTForms. And same thing for songs. Now here is if the user has clicked on something on the page that the user sees and come back, then we are in this part of the code, validate on submit. And each record is one artist ID, one song ID. That's how a bridge table set up. So, but I'm getting, because of the way I chose a select multiple field, I'm going to have several artists and several songs. And so I set up a nested loop. And so I'm looping through all the artist IDs I have, all the song IDs I have, and for each pair, inserting a record. And then, of course, commit. And then I made a sort of a response or handler table called artist written by. And that's just going to show a big long list of IDs. And then insert is the setting up the form, setting up the first multi-select for the artist, the second for the song, or vice versa, and the submit button. So that's what we'll see in the form, the written by. So show me the form written by insert. Just says I'm going to do multi-select. I'm just going to have this song ID thing, which we know happens to be a multi-select. And same thing for the artist and the submit button. There's the submit button. In the after, the handler, I'm just doing that sort of nested loop of getting the list of IDs and getting the long. But these are just IDs. So this is going to say, artist ID 1, song ID 15. It's not going to be very informative. Now I could be more informative. One way I could be more informative is to work a little harder on my choices. So I made choices the behind the scenes, what gets passed was just an ID. So that was convenient in terms of working with when it comes time to insert. I have that ID. That's all I needed. It was ready to go. But if I wanted to be on my handler, if I wanted my handler to have more information, then I might put here the name. What am I dealing here with the song? I might put the song title / the ID. Then I'd have to split them apart when I wanted to insert them in the bridge table. So again, I've kept it fast and dirty. It could be more user friendly. This is more friendly to the coder right now than to the user. All right, again, so I ran my query and we see just these few records. Let's add a few more, rerun the query, see that we did indeed do this insert. So I want to run this routing Flask. So this is, I'm running it, starting it down, invoking it down here in the terminal with a PowerShell command, and then Flask run, and then control click and opening this. And so here is my multi-select for a bunch of, so I scroll down to the bottom because I originally did the ones at the top. So let's just Strawberry Fields Forever, Penny Lane, Baby You're a Rich Man, All You Need Is Love, and then let's say they're Lennon and McCartney. I think so. And then I'll hit the insert. And then it's just saying here, artist 1, song 191, and then 191, 192, 193, and 190. Oh, I have an extra one up here. Okay, so I said that there were 4 songs, each by these 2 artists. So I've inserted in that table 8 records. Okay, and again, this is not very user-friendly here. And let's Control C, let's get out of there. Let's rerun our queries. That is a little, although it's in the terminal, a little bit nicer looking. And so here we see that we have those beginning songs. I saw her standing there at Misery. And then I've just added some of the ending songs. And here I was, and this is the order here. I didn't do any sorting on this table, on this query. I just sort of said, spit it out. And so this is just the order of the records in the bridge table. So, so that could be nicer. And then I could do some kind of sorting, like sort the songs in their order, or sort the artists in their order, but it's just the order of entry into the table. All right, well, that's what I wanted to show you on this one. I had shown in a different database, I'd shown a simple insert with only data and primary keys. I had shown a table where there was 1 foreign key. I'm showing you inserting into a bridge table where there are 2 foreign keys. Thanks for your attention.